This episode is brought to you by Blanchford Landscaping Group. Escape the holiday hustle and let the pros curate a magical, stress-free season for you. They handle every detail so you can sit back and relax, maybe do some yoga. Check out BlanchfordLandscape.com to book today. We are at the Madison River Foundation in Ennis, Montana. I am with the executive director, Keith Brauneis.
You got it.
And the conservation programs manager, Mia Cignoni. Thank you guys so much for hosting us here at your lovely little building at the end of Main Street in Ennis.
We call this the River Center.
The River Center, okay.
River Center.
And it is very close to the river.
Yeah. We're not even a block off the river.
Yeah.
It actually touches our property.
The river is here. We are on it. What is the Madison River? Let's start there. The history. I know that Lewis and Clark named it after James Madison, but tell me more about the Madison River. You must love it.
I'm going to talk to you about the importance of the Madison. I do love the Madison. So my office is here. I'm one block off. I'm not even a block. We're touching the Madison right here. My home is one block off the Madison. This town sits on the Madison River. West Yellowstone sits on the Madison. Norris sits on the Madison. Three Forks sits on the Madison. It's a vital waterway and a watershed for so many people and so many communities. It flows out of Yellowstone National Park, makes its way all the way to Three Forks, Montana, where it meets up with the Jefferson and the Gallatin, and it forms the Missouri River, which is the longest river in the United States, beating the Mississippi by 1 mile.
So
the Madison River actually feeds water to 7 states beyond Montana. And this is super important because those people rely on it for not only for agriculture, but for drinking water. So everything we do here, think about it, we are at the start of the Madison River. Everything we do here affects thousands and thousands of people through 7 different states before we meet up with the Mississippi and then into the Gulf of Mexico.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. So it's vitally important for us to keep this watershed healthy.
Yeah. You're like the very first domino.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo. If things fall apart here, things are falling apart.
Okay.
So, Mia's been great with her water quality monitoring program. We're expanding on that this year. A lot of watershed programs. Everything we do is to maintain cold, clean water in the main stem. Either maintain it or deliver more to it.
That's your mission statement.
That's our mission.
Okay. Yeah. I know there's an upper Madison, lower Madison. Which is your least favorite?
Yeah.
You prefer the upper?
Well, it's just so much more dynamic. It's so much... Yeah, we prefer the upper.
I mean, there's no favorites, but...
There's no real favorite. But, okay, honestly, for me, and you can tell for you, with the highway running along the lower, that takes away some of the, the beautiful ambiance.
I get that.
I think the recreational aspect on the lower as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There's we call it the tuber hatch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And unfortunately the lower is kind of struggling fish and insect-wise.
Brown trout populations are down. Macroinvertebrates are almost non-existent down there.
Yeah.
So it's something that we're working on with FWP. I don't know if you noticed all the construction that took place. It might still have some.
I think it's pretty much gone now.
Everything's gone
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they did a bunch of habitat restoration, trying to improve spawning habitat for both brown trout and rainbow trout. We're trying to get that brown trout population up. That section of the river gets extremely warm.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we're going to be doing with the water quality monitoring program is adding 2 more gauges down there, hopefully in the next couple of years. We need more funding, people, so that we can really start to understand what's going on in that waterway year after year. Because it's one thing if you dip your toes in and you take a study every now and again, but if we had continuous monitoring over and over and over again, then we can really start to understand what's happening down there. Because right now it's a little bit of an anomaly.
You think it's just temperature based?
Temp and flow
primarily temperature.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really warm water coming out of the Ennis Lake, it's just warming as it gets into the Ennis Lake, and then Ennis Lake is so shallow that it warms even more there. So by the time it's coming out of the Ennis Dam, it's just really hot water.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's a shame. You would think that by, and then it goes through the canyon, and you think that as it's going down and rumbling its way through that canyon and churning and, adding oxygen, it would be cooling down, but for some reason it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And that lower stretch is just so warm all the time.
Yeah.
Not conducive for life.
Yeah. And you mentioned the inner tubers. I've floated that section of the lower Madison. One thing I've noticed, nobody ever gets out to use the pit toilets. Can we verify metrically how much human urine is going in there? Is that also warming the stream?
This is where the term
question.
shit ton comes from. There is a shit ton of urine.
I'm sure
in the
there is. Yeah,
probably contributing to the warmth.
It's never been measured, but I'm sure it'd be pretty shocking if it was.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how we stop that.
Right.
I wonder if there's a sound for that. If we can put that into our gauging system.
Yeah.
Because we can measure turbidity, dissolved oxygen, flow, temp, but maybe,
a bunch of different stuff.
Urine.
Yeah. Maybe that's something we look at.
All right. This is holy ground for fishermen. Some of the best trout fishing anywhere. You know this better than anybody, Keith. You have a boutique fly fishing lodge. How healthy would you say the Madison River is right now, and what do you worry about?
Well, you should be talking to the trout slayer over here, because this woman catches more trout than most people in the valley. But from a biological standpoint, I think we have probably the healthiest river in southwest Montana, if not in Montana. Our trout populations are strong. Our macroinvertebrate populations are declining. We're working on that and studying that. But from a fish perspective, we'll find fish in this river from 3 inches to, we just caught one the other day. One of the guides in town caught one the other day. It was 26.5 inches.
Yeah.
So on any given day, if you're out there fishing, you might catch an 8-inch trout, an 18-inch trout, a 23-inch trout. That to me is indicative of a really healthy system.
Yeah. And everything that, FWP does annual monitoring all along the Madison. And everything that they've found is that the upper is looking really good as far as trout populations. They're remaining either stable or some of those populations are increasing. But again, like we said, on the lower, it's a different story. So the upper is looking really good. The lower, not so much.
And is it also a matter of what they have to eat there? You talked about the salmon fly population to me on the phone. That's a big issue.
Right.
It's blinked out down there.
Yeah.
Again, flow and temp.
Yeah. Yeah, and I personally do think that part of the reason trout populations on the lower are struggling is because of the macroinvertebrate population struggling. But it's also because of temperature and it's a lot of things that go into it.
And a lot of our brown trout on the Madison spawn in tribs and side channels. There's not as many down there as we have up here.
Mm-hmm. It's not as dynamic of a system.
Not
on
a
the
dynamic
lower.
as a system. That's a good way of putting it.
I mean,
so going back
short of just dumping a bunch of ice in the water, how do you fix this?
That's something we're racking our brains about every day, right? It's like, what can we do to decrease temperatures? There's not much.
And this is not specific to the lower Madison River,
right?
Like,
No, it's everywhere. Yeah, pretty much.
across the
right.
board.
All of our sister rivers, everybody's worried about flow and temp right now.
Okay.
One of the things that we can do is increasing streamside vegetation. That kind of increases shade, which will decrease temperature. But that's difficult on the Madison because it's such a wide river. So we can decrease temperatures in certain spots. But it's something that we definitely think about on a daily basis.
This is kind of what you exist to do, right? Is take on these projects like reintroducing vegetation. Talk about some of these bigger projects that you've taken on, and how are you paying for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dive into side channels.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way because not only is that habitat, but it's also cold, clean water, and kind of taps in all of our mission points.
Yeah, so we're going to be restoring 2 historic side channels on the Upper Madison next fall. And this project was kind of identified a couple of years ago by FWP and Northwestern Energy. They realized that we needed more off-channel spawning habitat for rainbows and browns, mainly browns. And so they went out and they identified all of these historic side channels that have dried up since Hebgen Dam kind of reduced flows and just the adjusted flow regime. There used to be water flowing into there, and because of that flow regime being changed, there's no longer water going into there. They kind of filled up with sediment. So yeah, a bunch of different tests were done to identify a bunch of different side channels. And then
how many side channels are we talking about here?
So a lot.
10,
yeah, there's been 10 that we've identified that we're probably going to move forward with in the future.
Okay.
Hopefully at some point we'd like to restore all of them
I'd
at
love
some
to
point.
restore all of them. I mean, you wouldn't
If
even
we
know,
can.
some of these you wouldn't even know were side channels.
Right.
It
Yeah.
looks like just a rocky, grassy field. But
That used to be.
They used to be at one point
yeah.
a side channel, so it's just going
Yeah.
back in and digging them back out, using LiDAR to determine what their natural flow was historically, and then
Yeah.
digging that out and creating a side channel again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, in the spring, we're also doing this work with a group called GM Environmental Consulting. In the spring, they went out and dug test pits in all of these side channels. So they dug down to the elevation where they thought spawning gravel should be found. And luckily, in all 10 of the side channels, they found spots like suitable spawning gravel. Suitable just meaning it's a certain size. So yeah.
I think an important point, though, is we don't do this in a vacuum. We have conservation partners throughout the valley that we rely heavily on. I think we all rely on each other. But this side channel program will be with Northwestern Energy. They do incredible work with their conservation efforts. Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, GM Environmental Consulting, and us.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
when you're digging out trout nurseries, like what you're describing, where does that funding come from?
So part of it, as Keith mentioned, Northwestern Energy, they've got a great conservation program. So they have given, I think, millions of dollars of funding over, a span of years and years towards conservation efforts,
Okay.
towards projects that we've done, towards, as an example, like the Odell Creek restoration, a bunch of different stuff.
So when you partner with them, they fund it.
They will fund
Potentially.
a lot of match funding. They'll,
Yeah.
Match
they'll
funding.
fund
Yeah.
some of it, often half of it, and then we have to go fund the other half.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
it's always a little variation. There's no
Yeah.
formula.
Which means private investors, fundraisers. How are you?
Bingo.
Other grants. There's the Future Fisheries Improvement Program, which is an FWP program that gives funding towards projects just like this that restore habitat for trout.
Your grant writing,
Yeah.
grant proposals, private donors, fundraising events.
Yeah.
So we'll have a fundraising event this June 5th, is it? We're going to have it over at the Madison Valley Ranch. Here, they're great partners of ours. And we'll have a dinner, drinks, music fundraiser over there to raise money for this side channel project.
Okay.
So phase 1 is Hyde and Morgan side channels. They're going to cost $425,000 to do both of them. We have raised $300,000, so I'm looking to raise $125,000 more.
For a really good cause.
For a
Yes.
really good cause.
Yeah, tell me about sort of the feather in your cap. What are you very proud of as a foundation that you have accomplished in the past?
Ooh, man. I would say it's got to be Odell Creek, right?
Yeah.
The Odell Creek project. The
$3.
work we're doing, $3. The work we've done at $3. We've done a lot of fun and interesting and cool projects.
You're going to have to tell me exactly what you did. You can't just say
Right, just $3 in Odell.
We're
Yeah.
very modest.
use your wink wink abbreviation. I don't get it.
We've done a lot. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Moore Creek. So this is a great opportunity. We're talking about conservation partners. So Moore Creek, we are one spoke in a wheel with Madison Conservation District. They're heading up this project. The Goggin Ranch,
Yep.
Starry Nights Campground, FWP involved in that one, is
Northwestern
Energy
Energy,
involved in that one. We're involved in that one. So it's the most degraded creek in the entire upper watershed here.
It's referred to as Poop Creek.
Poop Creek.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charming.
Yeah, very charming.
100 years ago, this happened all throughout the valley. Settlers came here. They found these creeks. They put their ranches on these creeks. And then they decided, well, for irrigation and stock ponds, we need to straighten this. So they took away that sinuosity and they straightened the creek, making a straight shot through their property back to the river. Well, you can imagine what that does. They've destroyed all of the, riparian corridors along the creek. So now that water's no longer running cold or cool. There's nothing to shade it. There's no banks to collect the sedimentation. Every time water hits a bank, boom, it drops sediment. Boom, boom, boom. Now all that sediment's going straight into the river. So Moore Creek, on average, is dumping 136 tons of sediment into the Madison River every year.
Wow.
So think about that. That's 136 full-size pickup trucks of dirt being dumped into the river.
Because it's like a city canal.
Just a
that's
canal.
lined with concrete almost.
Yep.
It's just taking all that stuff and dumping it right into the water.
Yeah, so this is a 4-phase project, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yep.
About to embark on phase 2. And this is going to be a wonderful boon for the valley. I mean, it's just... one of the reasons why, if you've ever been out on Ennis Lake, and for those of you who have been out on Ennis Lake, you know that our northern side of Ennis Lake is only about 2.5 feet deep. And that's from 100 years of sediment dumping.
It's got to go somewhere.
It's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes right into the lake, which is already shallow.
Yeah. So
And that one's been in the works for quite some time, it sounds like.
Moore Creek, no.
This is a new one?
I mean, I think the
planning
and
processing
permitting and all of that, it has
course.
been, I think, like 4 years or something. But they started on phase 1 last year, last fall. So it's been about a year. And the Conservation District has done...
they took a straight line and it looks beautiful now.
Yeah.
How has the current federal situation affected Madison River Foundation from a funding standpoint?
I think we're lucky in that we weren't relying on any federal grants in the past. So it really hasn't affected us too much. I think it will affect us in the future going for federal grants, because a lot of that funding has been pulled and isn't available anymore. But luckily, we weren't relying on any federal funding.
We're fortunate in that respect. But where it has hit us is almost all of our conservation partners are, federally funded.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about projects now in 2026, they no longer have their budgets to contribute to
that
those
match
projects.
funding.
Yes, and that did affect us with our water quality monitoring program with USGS. Usually they would be able to give some kind of match funding towards, say, installing a new gauge at Ennis Bridge, which we did this year. So unfortunately we had to take on all of that cost because they weren't able to provide match funding. That was taken away.
So it sounds like the net effect is less money is going to be spent by other organizations on caretaking the Madison River.
And I think less time as well, less staff. They just, their resources are very limited in both staff and funding.
I think for the time being, the foreseeable future, another 12 months easily, it's going to put a financial burden on this organization. Everybody's still working their tails off to make these conservation projects possible, but I think the Madison River Foundation has its work cut out for it, for sure, when it comes to, raising funds to make these things possible.
Okay. You need people who wouldn't ordinarily donate to step up and donate, and you need people who ordinarily donate a certain amount to donate more. Is that fair?
As long as we're laying it on the table, yes.
Okay.
That is fair.
Good. Hypothetically, let's say a huge check, $5 million materialized.
Don't even get
right?
me excited, please.
What could that do
Is that why
for
you're
the
here?
river?
Anybody McMahon?
I'm here to try to get somebody to write that check. Yeah.
Okay.
What could $5 million do for the Madison River?
Wow, if we had an endowment like that, man. It would take so much pressure off what we do. It would free up our professional time to actually work on the projects at hand. So much, if you had to guess, how many hours a week are spent for you just writing grant proposals and looking for money, and how many hours a week am I looking for money? And
Right. Yeah.
if we could actually be out in the field and, walking the banks and looking at the tribs and figure out what needs to be done, yeah, that would be,
Yeah.
yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
It
I
would
mean, I think
take
we could do every project that
could
we
do-
want to if we had that much money.
It would be very good
You
for the
know,
Madison
It would be
River.
very
extremely
good.
good
Yeah.
for the Madison
Yeah.
River and for the watershed and for, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My mind is spinning right now.
Well, I just can't stop thinking about all the thousands and thousands of dollars that get spent every year, millions probably, by tourists to come here to fish, to vacation, and it seems like that money is certainly not going all toward taking care of the river, the reason that a lot of people come here. So, why isn't, what are we doing wrong?
I would love to, it's a great point, and I've thought a lot about this. I would love to see monies from those tourism dollars going back into watershed conservation, not just for our river, but for all the rivers in Montana. 1/3 of Montana's revenue comes from outfitting. I don't know how much of that is divided into hunting and fishing, but 1/3 of the state's revenue comes from outfitting. If we could take a certain percentage of that, and have the state say, okay, there was a number recently on the Madison. Do you remember what it was?
As far as revenue that
Yeah,
comes in.
revenue for tourism on the Madison River.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty.
It was in the
It
millions.
was massive.
I mean, if we could take 10% of that, I don't know, 5%, and give it to this organization, take 5% of the tourism on the Gallatin and give it to, their task force and so on and so on, that would make everybody's life so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if this resource goes away, if it gets sick,
If it gets sick, think about it. If this resource gets sick, that's going to put a huge dent in the state's revenue, not only the local economy.
and it affects the 7 states.
And it affects
that
the
we
7
talked
states
about.
below
Yeah.
us.
Keith, I know you've lived all over. You lived you were telling me, Louisiana, Oregon, Washington, California. Mia, I know you've spent time in Colorado quite a bit, but you both chose to settle in Ennis, Montana, population 1,200.
We're both from Massachusetts,
You're
Originally.
both from
Yeah.
Massachusetts. Why do you live in
affectionately
Ennis?
known as Massholes.
What is it about Ennis that brought you here, that attracted you, made you want to stay somewhere?
And surprisingly, Ennis, Montana has about 1,000 people in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think about 30 of us are from Massachusetts.
Yeah, which is
Seriously.
weird. Yeah.
I mean, we have parties, we gather together at the brewery. Man, it's a great question. I grew up in a small town back east, not this small, but 3,000 people. Then, as you mentioned, I I ventured all over this country, chasing trout, looking for beautiful places to live where trout live. I had been coming here for years to fish. Obviously, this is sort of the mecca, not sort of, this is the mecca for trout fishing. And 11 years ago, I said to my wife, would you ever want to live in Montana without even, hesitating? She said yes. So we came up and we took a tour, and we got back to Colorado. And I said, what'd you think? And she said, what was that little cowboy town on the river?
That's the one that stuck with her.
And, of course, that was my number one choice. And I said, Ennis? And she said, yeah, I want to live in Ennis. And I said, let's go. So we packed up, loaded up the truck, and we moved up the hill. So I guess it's the beauty, the people here. Oh my goodness, man, the people here, the community is incredible. Everybody looks out for each other. It's a really tight-knit community. The natural beauty, the fishing, the trout fishing. I can't say enough about it. Mm-hmm. You?
Yeah, I in my previous life as a whitewater raft bum, one of my coworkers there was the assistant manager at the rental shop in Big Sky. So about 10 years ago, I came out and worked in Big Sky, and then I went back east. But I always wanted to make it back to Montana after that first winter. I went to school in Colorado, and then when I was graduating, kind of had a decision of staying there or going somewhere else. And then just randomly stumbled on Ennis. I grew up in a really small town too, with not a single stoplight. So I think I've just always been drawn to the smaller towns. It ended up being perfect. And then, being able to find work in the natural resources and conservation field can be a challenge. And I was able to find work here with the Forest Service and BLM, and now with the Madison River Foundation, and just fell in love with it. And I can't imagine being anywhere else.
It's a nice spot.
It is.
We had Ryan Zinke on the podcast, and
you did.
He complained about he feels like the Madison River area, especially the lower Madison, I think was part of his complaint, is being kind of overdeveloped, houses popping up like toadstools. Do you get that sense living here, that it is not being ruined, but certainly being affected by development?
May I?
Yeah.
I'll start this one.
You have the floor, Keith.
Because this one is, really near and dear to my heart. I don't think it's being ruined. There's always room for people who really enjoy this type of lifestyle. There's a couple of things happening right now. We have Taylor Sheridan, who's produced Yellowstone, and now he's producing a show called The Madison. And we're here about a month ago filming season 2. I'm not sure when season 1 is going to air. Mr. Sheridan, if you'd like to donate to the Madison River Foundation, we would be greatly appreciative of that. Feel free to call me or email me anytime. Where was I going with this? So we have, we've got a lot of popularity now. We have television productions that are gaining, national awareness about this little valley and about this little river. And as you mentioned earlier, I do have a small, boutique fly fishing lodge. And I would say every other phone call we get, people saying, oh, we've been watching that show Yellowstone and we want to come out and visit. So I can only imagine if they watch a show called The Madison, what that's going to do to the valley. I'm rambling now. What was the question?
Are you wary of that? Are you worried about the effect that this new show is going to have on the Madison River?
Every time you put people into a watershed, you are affecting the natural order of things. Whether you're walking a trail, whether you're stepping in and out of the water, whether you're floating a boat down it, backing a truck into it. Yeah. Yes, I'm worried. Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer could also donate.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yeah. Michelle, please call me.
All right. That's all the questions that I have. I do want to play a game with you. We do horseplay on Outlaw Beat, and this game is called Mad About Madisons. Okay. All right. Madison River may be special, but the name is way overused. I want you to answer these questions about the countless Madisons that litter American society.
I like how you took on your game show host voice.
Okay. That's what I do. I get a radio morning DJ voice mode. All right. If I say, I'm going to inhale a couple of Dolly Madisons, what am I about to do?
Smoke a cigarette?
Mm-mm. Do you not know this either?
No.
You're going to have a cocktail?
I am going to quickly eat some snack cakes. Most
Really?
likely some zingers. Dolly Madison is
What state does this come from?
Sounds like a Midwest thing.
I don't know. I grew up with them in the South. They're like
Did you really?
they're like Twinkies
Oh, okay.
or
right.
ding dongs. Dolly
Yeah.
Madison. I don't. What do you know about Dolly Madison? I don't. Was she a legendary baker?
I have
no
no
clue
idea.
there.
We don't know.
All right. Name the AMC TV drama that got its title from Madison Avenue.
I don't like
Talking
this
about
game.
TV shows.
AMC.
God,
Mad
it's
Men?
title.
Mad
Mad
Men,
Men,
very
hey.
good.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, 2007's Mad Men.
Thank you.
Remember 2007?
weekly
We were all
trivia.
so excited to stream content, so we didn't have to watch commercials, and then we all watched a show about making commercials.
Yeah.
All right, if you meet someone on Ashley Madison, what are you planning to do with them?
Date.
Not just date.
But, you know.
Cheat on your spouse.
Oh, right, yeah,
That's what
that's
Ashley
right.
Madison exists to do.
What?
Yeah. My wife and I both joined that site just to keep each other accountable.
Right.
Yeah. Keep tabs.
Which sophomoric fictional Madison was mortal enemies with an invisible penguin and had a fondness for Miss Veronica Vaughn's Heine?
Oh my God. I have no
I would
idea.
fail at trivia. Now I know I never go to trivia night.
This
Right.
is a movie Madison. He went back to school.
Madison.
This is going to kill me, guys.
With a
Billy Madison, Michael, do this
duh.
one.
Madison.
Of course. Yes.
In the movie, they let a 27-year-old hang out with first graders. Are they sending a note home notifying the parents? I would like to know that if that were my kid. All right, final question, and this is the hardest one. Who or what is a Madison beer?
Well, we talk about local beers.
But who or what?
And we have Honeyfly Rye, which I think is, the logo is $3 Bridge.
My 12-year-old knew this when I asked him.
Really?
Madison Beer is a pop singer and influencer
God.
who
Come on.
blew up
Yeah,
on
I'd
YouTube
never
and
get
social
that.
media. Justin Bieber retweeted her cover of a song. She briefly dated Brooklyn Beckham. Now she's dating Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers.
I feel old.
I know.
But
Well,
it
you
is
feel old, imagine.
it is also the thing you drink while you sit in a tube and float down the prettiest river in the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're
Yeah.
both right.
Yeah.
Thank you for playing Mad About Madison's
Yeah.
with me there. And thank you so much for having me here. This has been great. I can't
you.
wait to
Yeah.
walk down the river with you and
Just check out our beautiful river.
Yeah.
take it all in.
Yeah.
So good luck with all the future work.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for everything you're doing.